guest via Zoom this morning. Abimbola did say earlier that we are going to look at the Middle East crisis. We also what played out over the weekend with the volume of attacks on Iran coming from the United States and Israel. Iran, as a sovereign nation, is not folding its arms as well, retaliating by attacking Israel and the military bases of the United States. But by and large, what are the likely consequences of these developments on the global economy and the world peace? We have with us in the studio Tosin Akande, is a lawyer and media executive, and hopefully Dr. Bayo Olowoake, global affairs analyst, will also join us via Zoom as soon as we're able to connect with him. Tosin, rather, it's our pleasure to have you.
Always.
Okay, many will say that they weren't surprised at this development and the attack coming from Iran and coming from US and Israel on Iran. But how worried are you looking at this development of attack in terms of gravity and the volume of lives and property that have been destroyed?
If I heard you well, you said, how worried am I? I'm not worried.
You are worried?
One bit. Because this is the way it goes in public international law. It's all about braggadocious traits of some of these leaders, especially at a time when we are gifted, quote and unquote, with an aberrant like President Trump. Okay, so we witness all more of such dramas. I'm sure you saw him last night. He appeared to be consoling the American people, but yes, he was saying more Americans will still die following Iranians' onslaught. So you begin to wonder, what manner of man is this? It's all down to two things: oil politics and power relations. And I've always said it every time I come here. Power relations in public international law, international relations system is this way. Might is right.
Not minding what is lost.
I said might is right. That is the way power relations is in international relations. Unfortunately, our government hasn't tapped into that yet. And so we are always appearing lame duck.
Right. All right. Okay. Dr. Olowoake, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. I can hear you. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Please, can you give us the highlight of what has transpired, rather, in the Middle East since Saturday till date?
Well, we have had a reopening of the problems between the Israeli administration and the United States on the one hand, and of course the Iranian authorities on the other hand. This is a follow-up to events which occurred last year, which resulted in a 12-day conflict directly between Israel and Iran, although the United States intervened to bomb the Iranian nuclear facility during that particular crisis. But as of now, in just less than 3 days, the Iranians have complained of being attacked. We saw how the attacks opened on Saturday. As of this morning, about 500 people have been killed in Iran, including the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and then the commander of the Iraqi Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as the chief of the army staff of Iran, in addition to several other military officials that were killed. 85 children were also killed. I understand this morning the figure has gone to 100 and something. And then some military headquarters were attacked in Iran. And according to the United States, they've targeted 1,000 places on Iranian territory. But it's important to note that Iranian medium and long-range missile systems are intact, and Iranian drone operations and electronic warfare systems are apparently intact. On the other side, the Israeli-US coalition, so far we have seen several places being hit. The Iranians had actually threatened that if they were to be attacked, they would target all American bases in the Middle East. Right. And within 24 hours of attacks on Iranian territory, they actually went ahead to do that in Bahrain, in Qatar, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Jordan, in Syria, and as well as in Iraq. all U.S. bases have come under attack. These were usually simultaneous. Some Israeli civilian areas have also come under attack. Hotels in Israel have, hotels in the Gulf countries have come under attack. Some experts argue that the Iranians apparently were targeting American soldiers who have withdrawn from U.S. bases and put in hotels. And this was what explained why we saw hotels being attacked. And as of this morning, the Kuwaiti administration has announced that several United States Air Force jets have crashed within Kuwaiti territory. We don't know the reasons for this. It could be electronic warfare by the Iranians. It could be through missile action, because Kuwait has a border with Iran apparently. But this is what is playing out. And but United States aircraft carriers are active, and then United States fighter aircraft squadrons are also active. I think in summary, this is just a snapshot of what has transpired within the last 2 days and a couple of hours.
Right, let's come back to you here. Judging from what the catalogue of what Dr. Olowoake has just taken us through, it looks like, of course, Iran is also up to the task here. But when we look at the other countries, about 5 other countries have been attacked since Saturday, where U.S. bases are. And of course, like you said, the president of the U.S. returned to the White House yesterday, and of course, he also admitted to the fact that more citizens will die.
More Americans.
More U.S. citizens will die from this particular situation, meaning that more civilians will definitely die from this issue. And we talked about the fact that there was a negotiation, a peace talk prior the attack on Saturday. So is this about control, like you rightly mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Is this just about the oil control or the control of the Middle East, as it were?
See, anytime we talk about foreign relations, I always try to reduce it to brass tacks so that the average Alata on the street will understand or have an idea. It shouldn't be restricted to those who are in the elite class. It's all down to the situation that Trump needs to amass, economically speaking now. America is heavily indebted. Not that they cannot pay. Not that they cannot pay. But he sees some joy, excuse me, in amassing the resources of other countries. He has done so in Venezuela lately. He has decided to do so in Iran now. Like you said, it offends logic. There was a peace talks last week, and people were looking forward to the fact that, okay, there will be peace at the end of the day. And then you have come out to say, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to bomb, and so, and then he has done so without justification, truth be told. There's no justification. So we are talking about an eccentric person here. You are talking about, you're supposed to have some sympathy in talking to your nation. You are reassuring them again that more Americans will still die. I mean, what manner of man? So we are talking about a United Nations too that appears powerless.
Right.
A toothless bulldog. A situation, if it were in those days of yore, because you see, all these things reminds our viewers of the fact that history is always told by the conquerors. During the League of Nations time, in the era of the League of Nations, I'm talking about the First World War and so on, the headquarters was not in the US, it was in somewhere in Europe. But when power shifted to America, following WW2 end, they brought it to New York. All right? So that is the way it goes. I see America falling down from its Olympian height in a few decades to come. And Trump seems to be very well aware of that, and so he wants to be as aggressive as he can be. Honestly, we've learned from Iraqi invasion the last time, when it was his father, this Bush Senior, when he invaded Kuwait and Iraq. It was Bush.
Saddam Hussein was there.
Saddam Hussein was there, and they were going under the pretext of looking for things that were not lost. You understand? So now we are seeing history repeat itself. And I tell you, at the end of the day, America will have itself to blame for all of this. This is not the first time they are regretting
Most
being
definitely,
aggressive.
right.
They've done so with Vietnam. They've done so with Afghanistan. Look at all the countries where they have gone, seeking regime changes. I mean, let the people... Have you heard him also lately talking to the Iranian people that go and fight for yourselves? You know, speaking from both sides of the mouth.
Yeah.
Is this guy troubled?
Let's come, the doctor, very quickly, let's look at how close this particular invasion is to a full-blown regional war, or like some are likening into a World War III, just in the fringes. What exactly does this portend, especially for other economies, now that we know that several airspaces are being shut, a lot of people are stranded, and of course others are waiting in the flanks? Vladimir Putin is just waiting around the corner, looking at, you know, how to take full advantage of this. And we also know that, you know, based on what has happened, where the U.S. has also taken full control of Venezuela, and we know there is, of course, a connection with the Venezuela and the Iranian oil. What does this really portend for world economy and, of course, control of the Middle East?
First of all, I think what is happening now is essentially trying to make sure that there is no country in the Middle East that has the capability to take on Israel. That is what is going on. At the core of that is the argument as to whether Iran has the right, first of all, to have nuclear facilities, and secondly, to actually develop nuclear weapons.
Right.
This is at the core of the discussion. As of today, Israel is the only country in the Middle East, even though officially it is never admitted, that has nuclear weapons capability.
Right.
And therefore, any attempt by any other country, this is a strong argument, you know, and I think I subscribe to that view. Any other country that attempts to have nuclear capability, everything will be done to prevent.
Okay. We seem to have lost Dr. Olowoake there. Hopefully we'll be able to reconnect with him in the course of this conversation so he can conclude on that line of thought, as it was, you know, okay. All right.
Every American base in that region will come under attack because the Americans could use those bases to attack Iran.
Okay, Tosin, I'm just looking at it. How complicated is the situation going to be, looking at the strategy of Iran attacking the U.S. military bases?
Funded on their territory, yes. So if you are developing a tourist economy, I think it's best for you to remain neutral. If you're developing a tourist economy and you're developing yourself as an aviation hub, like the Gulf states are doing, I think it serves their interest better to be neutral. Because the moment you accommodate foreign military bases, you will willy-nilly become party to a conflict that involves the person who has a base on your territory. And lastly, can this be a world war? I don't think so. Okay. Because already one nuclear power is involved, which is the United States. The unwritten agreement among the big powers is always that once the nuclear power is involved, you won't see another nuclear power coming directly into the conflict. Okay. And that's why you do not see the US directly, or France or Britain, who are all nuclear powers, having troops and all that in Ukraine to confront Russia. Instead, they support Ukraine by other means. So I don't think it will lead to a world war. A regional war, a devastating regional war, absolutely, it can become a devastating regional war. But I don't see it becoming a world war.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Perhaps maybe we should just conclude with Dr. Olowoake so we can allow him, you know, go because of the network issues here. Doctor, before we allow you go, you've said, I mean, you do not think this is going to degenerate into a world war. But on the part of the Iranians, and they've said that, you know, they have this, they're ready for this for as long as, you know, this will go on. And the U.S. also is taking full capacity of what this is going on by also backing Israel in this attack. If there's anything that Iran needs to do at the moment, what should it be?
Right.
I think the Iranians have been, from their utterances, they are not satisfied yet that they have deployed or exacted.
Okay,
They
their
have
power.
not exacted. Yes, they haven't exacted sufficient punishment, according to them.
Okay.
As we speak, look, yesterday, the United States tried to call for a ceasefire, and this has been confirmed by many sources in the Middle East. They tried to call for a ceasefire through the Italians. The Iranians rejected it. This morning, it's official on one of the major news networks that Ali Harijani, head of the Iranian security intelligence system, has confirmed publicly that they are not going for any negotiation.
Right.
That confirms what we were hearing yesterday, that the Americans, through the Italians, were asking the Iranians for a ceasefire. President Trump, like you were saying at the top of the program, didn't go to Congress to ask for permission to start this war. So already there's a problem for him. In the US, there's already a big issue with that. America is already having casualties. We don't know exactly how many casualties, but we do have it officially this morning from the Kuwaiti government that several American fighter jets have crashed. So now, that tells you immediately this is going way beyond what the Americans were expecting.
Right.
Israel itself is not designed to fight a sustained consecutive war. Israel, by its doctrine, is designed to fight short wars. And the Iranians know that. So they are just trying to exert as much pressure, and in my view, to make sure that by the time this war ends, nobody will dare to threaten them again.
Anymore.
But of course, it's one thing to hope for that. What will exactly happen, we don't know. So we'll just look out and see how this develops.
Okay. All right, we'll have to leave it here with you this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Bayo Olowoake, for connecting with us via Zoom on the conversation this morning.
Thank you for having me, and sorry for the
Nate, it's fine. It's network, that's fine. Thank you so much. All right, sir. Jibola, you can
back in studio, Tosin. I'm just looking at the complication of the whole issue. How complicated can it be looking at the strategy of Iran attacking the military bases of America in the Gulf? Will those countries fold their arms and not do anything against Iran? That, of course, might cause some kind of complications. And then the killing of the supreme leader of Iran, wouldn't that be an hardliner for Iran to continue to fight this war?
I tell you, that's the meat of the issue. That's the meat. And, you know, when Dr. Olowoake was being asked, I was telling you secretly, I said, when she was saying, I said, they will keep fighting. And what did it turn out to be? So it turned out exactly to be that the same opinion he expressed. Right. That is on one hand. On the other hand, let's look at the casualties so far gathered. About 153 girls in a girls' school have died as of last night, following shelling by U.S.-Israeli coalitions. And so far, Iran has only been able to claim less than 18, about 9 or thereabout. More heads must roll. That's the language in public international Martin Sofun I used to tell you a long time ago. But you seem to be like, public international law is about, look, street mentality, street fights. That's the way it is. And predictably, he said so. That was my opinion to you personally while we were on air. That, they will keep fighting. Except truce comes from maybe the UN. As lame duck as they appear to be, they will still gather some strength, maybe, and some influence, level of influence.
Okay, the aspect of the complication that I raised.
Already it's complicated already. Travel, what do they call it now? Flights have been cancelled, and so on and so forth. As at the last time, in Asia now, the entire Asian continent has begun to have prices.
Yeah,
up for oil.
Yeah.
So, of course, it will boomerang to countries like us, and we hope we will not have a situation where we have another oil windfall being emptied somewhere. I'm sure you understand what I mean. During the Gulf War in 1991, we had so much money, $12 billion. Till today, we don't know where it went. So we hope we will not have a repeat of such, because Nigeria will make money. If it continues this way, it will boomerang positively for us. We will make money, but I hope it will be judiciously spent for the masses.
Let's look at the mentality of the Iranians themselves now. Even before the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, we understand that a lot of Iranians also had issues with his radical beliefs, and of course, many of course would have supported before 1979, before he gained power, the succession of the throne and all of that. And of course, remember the Shah are also in the flank, still waiting and hoping that they also will come back to power. And now, so when you look at the average minds of the Iranians, and now that Ayatollah is dead, do you think that they are truly in support of the stance of Iran at the moment, or is it just, are they also happy that there's that intrusion from the US and Israel?
All those fears you have raised, no thanks to the meddlesome influence of the West. Those countries are at peace with themselves.
Right.
Maybe I need to say this again emphatically. They are at peace with themselves.
So the Western incursion is really a problem.
Look, it's these white guys who just left their bases and decided to go and cause trouble all over the world. I've said this several times before, that look, whenever an African is turned down, when you people came to us, there was no visa issue. You came, raided, took so many things. There's always a payback time. Now Ayatollah is dead. It has created much more anger in his successors. And that, you heard Dr. Bayo now. That and I told you, they will keep fighting. But I hope that truth will come in at the end of the day. Because facts emerging from Dubai alone. Just Dubai alone. Dubai is just one city under the UAE.
Has also been bombed this
morning. They said over 20 million overnight visitors passed through Dubai in 1 year. Just 1 year alone. So it's a tourist hub. Of course, complications will arise. So we just pray for humanitarian reasons that peace will reign in that place. It will also trickle down here. Trump is just one guy who is just an aberrant to the core, a deviant, who just wants to cause trouble. He wants to just satisfy his instincts. Let me see others suffer. Let me see others wail. How America elected this guy, I just don't know.
Before we go, from what Dr. Olowoake also said, remember that if we also go back to the fact that Trump is not also having it good at home because he did not seek the consent of the Congress before.
He's not always had it good at home.
And then others are also saying that it's looking like Trump is prioritizing Israel over America. What do you perceive Congress doing?
Hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy. You are the same one who comes to say America first. America first. But now you are evidently prioritizing another nation over yours. So, and I'm sure the American people should be able to hold him accountable. I expect, Marco Rubio is going to be addressing the Congress tomorrow. I expected that they should be discussing that today. Because it's of a serious issue. Why should it be tomorrow? Why can't it be today? We don't pray that it gets into a humanitarian crisis before they realize. But America is beginning to lose casualties. And then look at his body language. They were trying to talk to him this morning. He didn't even answer. He didn't even answer them. You have caused the trouble, and you are now trying to avoid the consequences. What manner of man?
Okay, Tosin, so what are the likely actions that you would expect the Security Council of the United Nations to take as weak
as they are?
According to you.
No, it's according to experts.
Are there possibilities that China or Russia might also be involved in this war, codedly or openly?
I like the question you asked. That particular zeroing in on the other permanent members of the Security Council. You see, they are waiting for him to exhaust himself. That's the truth. It's diplomacy at its highest, at its best. They are waiting for him to, he's going to exhaust himself. He's spending money. The American taxpayers' money is being spent. For each time the warship, the war tanks are moved from America to the various bases where they are, they're spending millions of dollars. What's wrong with this man?
So if we look at, I'm going to look at also what Dr. Olowoake said, which I've also read here, that Iran from the onset already said we are ready, and we're ready on a long-term basis. And he
ready
also
for what, if I may ask?
We're ready for the war.
Okay.
Ready for the war.
It's all right.
And remember that they've been on this issue of whether or not they could have their nuclear weapons, which they've been keeping and nursing for years. And now that, you know, this has come to play, and of course Trump is backing Israel in all of this, now that he's asking for negotiations, and then they're saying, no, we're not coming, we don't even want to talk to you, we want to continue. Do you see Israel bypassing the U.S. now?
Don't worry.
Or are they going to queue behind Trump at the end of the day to see where this is? Because again, like you've alluded to,
Yes.
as it stands,
Yes.
until Iran, until Tojumabada, before
No,
they want to
it wouldn't get to that.
retract.
It won't get. I promise you, it will not get to that level. You see, in diplomacy, you are allowed to, do all the braggados and all. It's part of it. I told you the last time I was here when people were talking about raising fears over Renault, and it's part of public diplomacy.
Yeah.
They are allowed to talk tough. We don't talk tough. That's why it pains people like us. We've never talked tough. Apart from Murtala Mohammed Ramat. And in Diagon's days, when he grounded the British Airlines, I'm sure you remember that episode. When he grounded the British Airlines, the British Airways flight, the following day they released our people who were trapped over there when they tried to get, remember that guy's name, Umaru Diko. You know, it was those were the finest days of our international relations policy.
Right.
But now we have become lame duck. And that's why it hurts people like us. We don't talk tough. Talking tough is a very serious requirement for you to play global affairs, in global affairs. We don't talk tough.
Okay. Does it appear that United States and Israel underrated the capacity of Iran?
It's not the first time. U.S. underrated Vietnam. They've underrated. Go to everywhere they have ensured regime changes. They will always leave trouble, like Fela sang. Once they are gone, they leave sorrow. That's a trademark. They leave sorrow, tears, and blood. And that's what they want to achieve with these Iranian people. And I've seen the people revolt. In Turkey, for instance, some years ago, there was a coup. I'm sure you remember. And the people went onto the streets. But you don't do that here. Here, our own independence was negotiated with tea and so on and so on. They were attending tea parties in London. And so we don't understand the concept, what it means to do nation building.
Right. So if at the end of the day, to get this war nipped in the bud, after now, maybe in coming days, the U.S. decides again to reach out to Iran or the leaders of Iran to want to negotiate, what do you think Iran will be putting, what foot do you expect Iran will put forward in wanting to sit to negotiate in the first place?
Still, diplomatically speaking, even if those things are there, they have those nuclear weapons, even if it is established that they have, they will never come to the table to admit that they have.
Sure.
So the negotiation will just go on as it has always been.
Right.
Like, okay, fine, we know you have it, but you have refused to come out to say
but
you
will
have
this
it.
wanton destructions and
Pardon?
killing, the destructions and killing, will they stop?
It will stop. I've just told you, all the grandstanding measures by Iran at the moment is good. They will be respected by other nations, especially those that are tied to the apron strings of Trump around that region, all those Kuwait and all. Oman is already neutral.
Right.
Oman is not joining in the fray. They are not.
Yeah.
They are neutral, and so they will win more sympathy. Other nations will toe the line. They will be feared in that region. They will be just like we used to be feared in West Africa before.
Okay, so aside from the economic damage now to the economy of America, what are the likely consequences for the United States of America in terms of security?
Well, of course, they are undermining their security, no doubt about it. Because for the next 1, 2, 3 days, Iran will keep shelling all their bases. And they will even make serious attempts to take the war to them. They might. It's possible. And so they will not be caught off guard. I'm sure they would have been spending. They are spending money heavily. And the average, look at the reaction of his vice president, for instance. Let's talk about it. He's not made a public statement for the past 2 or 3 days that Trump has held the jugular of the entire Middle East by going to fire a needless shot. He fired shots here. Kilashi, what did we do? What can we do? So you don't go ahead and thinking because you escaped that same thing with Nigeria, you will escape it elsewhere. They have given him woto now.
Nigeria is not Iran.
Nigeria is not Iran. You can say that again.
As we close this conversation this morning, again, we do know that there's going to be a spike or there's going to be a worry on the price of oil across the globe, especially as this is going on. Again, does this in any way affect Nigeria?
Positively now. I told you that we had 12 point something billion dollars as of 1991 during the Gulf War, and it went down the drain. Nobody knew where it went. Babangida only will know. All right, so we are likely to have a repeat of such. Something good will come to Nigeria, but I'm sure that I trust this one anyway.
We would be able to account for it.
We should be. We should be. We should be.
Okay, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Tosin Akande,
Thank you.
lawyer,
Always.
media executive, for speaking with us on the program today. We appreciate your thoughts. Well, definitely, days ahead will will count either for or against Iran in this particular situation. But like analysts have said here this morning, until Iran exerts their energy on this particular situation, they may not want to sit to negotiate or back down. Well, let's see how much time Iran, Israel, and the U.S. can take to bring this. I hope it's not going to be a full-blown one, even though Dr. Olowoake said
It's not going to be the third world war.
It's not going to be the third world war. Let's just hope that it's something that, you know, will go. But we can't take away the facts that people are dying and more people will die and more facilities will definitely be destroyed in this unneeded, unjustified issues going on between Israel, Iran, and the U.S. Anyway, time will tell how much this will continue. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe and Joy will be here with their Lagos conversation.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State Government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.